Well, hello there, beautiful people. It's been a while since I've uploaded this channel. I've been busy all summer working and just living somewhere where I can't really have a setup to record. So I'm back in college and the videos are now going to be coming your way. And for the first video, we're doing another tier list. You see, I think it's been now 2 years since I released my Ween tier list. Back when I was about to go to my senior year of high school, and I am now starting my sophomore year of college tomorrow. So, without further ado, I present to you the Tool tier list. Hey, 1 second actually. Before we hop into that tier list, I have a quick message for you. Do you like music that sounds like this? How about music that sounds like this? Boy, Boy, have I got the message for you. Those two songs were actually written by the same band. That band being Nova Buzz. Nova Buzz is a band led locally here in Columbus, Ohio by my buddy Xavier and two of his other buddies, Brennan and Ethan. They make what they call grunge funk, or gunk for short. I really personally love this music. It reminds me of stuff that came out in the 90s. And if you like stuff that came out in the 90s, you'll probably like this. Now, they currently only have those two songs released that I just played for you, but a whole album is on the way. And not only that, but they are currently in a competition to open for the We Can Survive Festival, hosted by Odyssey, formerly known as Radio.com. You're able to go on the website and vote for them to become said opener. Not only would they get to play in New York in front of thousands of people, but if they win, they're going to get $10,000, which they can put towards gear, tour van, whatever the fuck they want, but it's all going to go towards the band, trust me. Now, personally, I'm doing this message just because not only are they my friends, but I actually really like this music, and I think they're all very talented musicians, and even if you don't want to go and vote on that website, I think you should still check them out and maybe shoot a subscribe or a like towards, their YouTube channel. But anyways, I've wasted enough of your time. Let's get back to that tier list. So without further ado, let's get into this tier list. Now, I decided to separate all the songs and the interludes because I think interludes serve a different purpose from a song, and therefore it'd be kind of weird to lump them together. And I think it also, by separating them, you can see which interludes I think are the best, whereas if they're all lumped in the songs, that would be kind of hard to see. So, starting off, we got 1 million IQ bangers. These songs make your head expand like a balloon. These are the best head... This is the best head you'll ever know. This is the best Tool songs ever. My favorites. These ones are so good, and they're at the top. Next, we got Goes Hard. These ones are still really good songs. Still in the playlist, all that. Still ones I like to show my friends, but there's just, one or two things keeping them from being perfect for me. Next up's Decent. These are songs that I don't think are bad in any form, but I don't really... They might not be ones I listen to, maybe just because I don't dig them that much. Or, there's some other factors that make me not like them as much, but that doesn't mean they're bad. Now, here's where we start to get into where I think there are some bad things about the songs. Either they're repetitive and just kind of sound like other songs on the albums, or I just don't really like the groove, or like the lyrics are not really that good. And then, of course, at the bottom, garbage. I don't really... Honestly, off the top of my head, I can't think of any songs that would be in the garbage tier. I think Tool's one of those bands that have a near perfect catalog, and therefore
I don't really think that there's any songs I would say are bad, just ones that I don't like as much. And now for the interlude rankings, we have Songworthy. These are interludes I think are so good that they could maybe be their own song, or maybe could be considered a song. I think there will be only like a couple of these. So I decided to have Entertaining as the next one. These are ones that I don't skip. I think they fit the album. They're either short enough to not bother me and not be like, a big time waster, or even if they are long, they're very interesting and kind of fun and tie into maybe the next song or whatnot. And then, of course, Instant Skip. These are interludes that I think are dumb. They either just don't really have that much interesting going on. Maybe they're too long. There's a couple of those I can already see coming up that are just so long that it's like, I don't really feel like listening to this for 4 minutes instead of just, going straight to the next actual song, So, without further ado, let's get right into this. Starting off with Opiate the Opiate EP. We got Sweat. I think Sweat is decent. It's a very good opener. It's got this weird, 20 to 30 seconds of silence in the beginning, but I think that might just be part of, that happens with Intolerance, too, so I think that might just be something weird, that they did. I'm not sure, but, it's a little short. That's kind of how early Tool is. Their songs are a lot shorter, not as much, weird time signature, meditative stuff going on. But I still think this is a decent song. Hush. I like Hush more than I like Sweat. I think Hush goes hard. I think Hush is what Sweat should be. Because not only do I think the groove is better, I like the bass line a lot. But I think that the lyrical content's a little bit better as well. Being that's about censorship and whatnot. Part of me. I'm going to put Part of Me in decent under Sweat. I don't think it's necessarily bad at all. I think at this point the Opiate EP starts to sound a little repetitive, considering all three of these songs sound somewhat similar. Part of Me does have this weird riff in the verses that kind of reminds me of Rush almost. It's kind of hard to explain. You just kind of have to hear it. It's definitely a kind of riff that you won't hear in a lot of other Tool songs. But that's really the only distinguishing factor. Nothing I think is bad now. Cold and Ugly, I don't like it as much as either three of these. Once again, very similar to Part of Me. I feel like Tool's still discovering their sound. This is only their first EP, not even their first album. Excuse me. So I don't necessarily blame them for having a bunch of songs that sound somewhat similar. I mean, that's just how it goes with a lot of bands early on. But I think Jerk Off is top of decent. I wouldn't necessarily say it goes hard, but I think it's better than these three. I love the screaming. Some of the best screams from Maynard are in this song, and I think the live versions are a lot better than the one that's on the Opiate EP. Even though the one that's on the Opiate EP is technically live, but you get what I mean. Oh, and Opiate. Opiate. Banger! There's a reason they named the EP after this one. This one is really good. I mean, where do I even begin? The bass line's kicking, and the bass line and the guitar line are pretty much the same, but that's besides the point. I'm a bass player, that's just how I feel. I love the lyrical content, I love the meaning of the song, I love just all the different things. I love the screaming, I love just it grooves, which is one thing I like about a lot of Tool songs. They have this sort of groove to them that not a lot of metal songs have. Which actually makes them great for a DJ playlist or party playlist for people who like, rock music or heavier music. So yeah, I think Opiate's awesome. It's one of the Tool songs I like to show people a lot. And then the Gaping Lotus Experience. For those of you who don't know this is the... this is gonna go in garbage. This is the little thing that happens. If you notice on Spotify, Opiate's 8 minutes long. But the actual song's maybe 5. There's a couple minutes of silence, then there's this really weird song at the end about some guy taking acid and pissing on people or something. I don't really know. it's funny, like, the first time you hear it, but I don't think I've ever, like, purposefully gone to listen to this at all. Nor do I think it really... Honestly, I was almost going to put it as an interlude, but I don't think it really fits the criteria of an interlude, and the fact that it's not really between any songs, nor was Tool really doing interludes at this point anyways. That kind of started with Ænima. So, I'm just going to put it here. Now, we're going on to Undertow. This is Tool's first studio album. They're still sort of discovering their unique sound. However, I will say this album has a lot more variety on it than Opiate in terms of the sounds. And I think it has a lot of really good songs. Starting off with Intolerance. Intolerance goes hard. I like the weird time signatures in the main riff. It always catches me off guard even when I try to sing it myself. I love the lyrical matter. I love everything about this. Prison Sex, banger. You know what? I'll put it in goes hard. I'll take that back. It's really good, but sometimes you want to show your friends a cool Tool song, and this one really has a good groove, but it's not always that fun to put on a song about what this song is about. I'm not going to mention it because this is going on YouTube, but just look it up on Genius. Sober, banger. Listen, I don't even know if I have to explain myself for this. If you heard this song, you already know. This is an amazing song. In fact, I'd say it's better than Opiate. It's a really good song. It's one of my favorites. I love singing this song because just the why can't we not? Yeah, it's like it's so fun to sing. It's so nice. It has such a simple but memorable bass line. Just that one chord, that like it's perfect. Bottom, I'd say bottom goes Under Hush. I love this song. I love the way, I love all the yelling. I mean, you're going to hear that a lot. I love the screaming. But Maynard does have a very nice screaming voice. I love the spoken word poem from Henry Rollins in the middle. I think that's really interesting and is kind of sort of a intro to Tool doing, strange experimental stuff in their songs, even though they don't really get into poetry in any of their later projects. But I definitely think it's great. I love just the screaming dead inside. Oh, it's so good. Crawl Away, it's decent. I'm gonna put it there. I like it. I think the one memorable part about this for me is the really fast part. Just suddenly it starts going like, which is kind of rare for a Tool song. Most Tool songs, even when they groove, are still kind of a little slower, a little more measured. But I think this is one of the few songs where they do go pretty fast, and I think that's really the only like memorable part of it. Swamp Song, I'm gonna put it under bottom here. I think it's cool. I think a lot of people like this song. I'm not too big on it. I do think it goes hard though. But that's just me. Let's just move on. Undertow. I'm debating where to put it. Actually, I like it a little more than Swamp Song. I like the little guitar line, the little thing. I think that's cool. For a title track, I'm surprised because usually most of Tool's title tracks are like one of the singles and like go really hard. Like I'm pretty sure Ænima, Lateralus, Inoculum, maybe 10,000 Days will all be up here. Not to spoil the rest of the playlist, but or tier list. But yeah, Undertow's still good. I still recommend listening to it. I'd recommend listening to all these songs, honestly. Tool is an amazing band. But I think it just rests here. 4 Degrees. I put 4 Degrees above Intolerance. I really like this song. I think this song's great. Apparently it's about doing it in the butt. I don't know. Flood. I'm gonna put it here. It's really long. I love the extended instrumental in the beginning. I think that's probably the best part of the song is the beginning and how it really builds up for like 3 to 4 minutes before you even hear any lyrics. Once it gets to that point, it just kind of sounds like the rest of the album. And Disgustipated, I don't really know where to put this song. In terms of, okay, if I was rating it on like just how much I like it in general, it'd be like up here. But just like objectively as a song, I put it down here. It's less of a song and more of just like a kind of a funny ending. Fun fact, apparently on the CD version of this album, they put like 50 some 1 second tracks of silence in between so that Disgustipated would end up being track number 69. I think that's funny, personally. Alright, moving on to Ænima. I realized we don't have anything filling up subpar right now, so I might just move like maybe the bottom part of this down here. And then move some of these into here. I think that is a little better. I think this is a little better. Alright. Moving on to Ænima. This is my favorite Tool album, personally. So, you can already guess where a lot of these are probably going to go on the tier list. This was Tool's, I'd say, breakthrough. A lot of people cite this as... I mean, a lot of people cite either this or Lateralus as Tool's best album. There's a reason why. A lot of these songs are really good. And this is also Tool's introduction into putting interludes in songs. So we'll be finally using this. Alright, first up, Stinkfist. Banger, 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 banger. It is so good. It's silly. It's about fisting. But also, it just slaps. Just the way it hits you. This song, I feel, just hits you like a truck. That main riff that comes in is just like getting hit by a car. Not that I've ever been hit by a car, but... Next up, Eulogy. Eulogy goes hard. I don't say it's a banger. I don't think it's a banger personally, but it is a really good song. This song is one of Tool's first entrances into making more drawn out and like meditative type songs. Not that you'd actually meditate to this, it's a little chaotic for that. But this song has a very long extended intro, not like the intro to Flood, which was very metally, but this one has a lot of weird noises and weird percussion. And you can easily see that Tool is starting to head in that direction in this album, starting with this song. Moving on, we have H. I really like this song. It's funny because it's just one letter. This song, I like the lyrical matter of it. I like the riffs. I think it's the perfect length. I think it's a banger. Then, first interlude, we got Useful Idiot. Okay, I'm going to say it's entertaining. It's not song-worthy because it literally has no melody to it. But I think it's really short. It's like 30 seconds, you know, and I think it transitions very nice into our next song, 46 and 2, which is a very, very good song. I'm sure that's not surprising to anybody. This is a very popular song. And it is just one of the most tightly knit, very just perfect songs ever made. Next is Message to Harry Manback. I think it's entertaining, mostly just in the fact that I think it's funny. But however, I usually kind of skip it, so it'll probably be at the bottom of this here. Next song is titled That. I'm not going to say it out loud because I am on YouTube. I think this is a banger, but not that hard of a banger. But I think it goes pretty hard. It's a very good song to listen to when you're angry because of all the yelling. Now this one, I'll say is song-worthy. I'm going to consider it an interlude because it's not very... it's very one note. It's like the same riff ever, and if you know anything about Tool, they do not use the same riff for an entire song, especially Ænima and onward. But I do think I never skip this. I think it's funny. It's a cookie recipe sang in German like it was a, you know, like it was in a one of those old 1940s type situations. Next up is Intermission. Now, I mean, it's named Intermission, and I think this is probably one of the best interludes. It is so groovy, despite the fact that it's not even a whole song. And it leads perfectly into the next song, which is Jimmy. There are two Jimmys here. I'm going to use the bigger text one. Jimmy, I think, is going to be at the bottom of Goes Hard. I think it's a very good song. I think this section of Ænima, this sort of middle section, is a little underwhelming compared to just how good it begins and just how good it ends. However, I still think these songs are very good, and I do think they're worth a listen. I'm going to put you at the bottom. Next up is Push It. This is probably my least favorite song on the album. I'm going to put it probably here. It's very long. It's almost 10 minutes long. It's not bad. That's why it's still having it decent. There's nothing I dislike about it. I just don't necessarily gel with this song in particular. I think it's really long. It kind of drags a little bit. I think it overstays its welcome. I think if it was a slightly shorter song, it probably would be a little bit higher. Next is Caesar Some Ability. Skip. This interlude is weird. It has like the baby crying. It's like, why the hell did they put a baby in here? There could be some sort of reasoning behind it that I'm just not aware of, but I'm not aware of it, so I don't like it. Next up, we have the title track, Ænima. This is how I pronounce it. It's probably wrong. It could be Ænima. I'm not sure. But this is a banger. I'd say it is probably here. It is a amazing song. What I was talking about with Undertow and how Tool's title tracks are usually amazing applies straight to this. This song is great. It's where the whole learn to swim thing comes from. It is a reference to Bill Hicks, the comedian who had a what do you call it? Like, it's not like a skit, but like who had a routine or whatever. One of his jokes was all about like California sinking into the ocean. There was Arizona Bay, and that's where that comes from. Next interlude actually is Ions. I think this is probably a little bit better than Harry Manback, but I usually skip it just because of the length. However, I think upon first listen, it's really fun, especially if you have headphones, because the little noises will kind of circle around your head if you have headphones, and it's just kind of goofy. It's a little silly, but I usually skip it just because of the length. Next up, Third Eye. I'd say this goes probably bottom of Million IQ banger. I mean, it's literally called Third Eye. It has to be in the Million IQ banger category. This is really long song. I think 13 minutes long. But I don't think it overstays its welcome because, like I stated earlier, they don't stick with just one riff the whole song. This song evolves, it changes throughout the whole 13 minutes, and it is one hell of an experience. And it is another reference. Well, it also references Bill Hicks by actually just playing clips of him in the beginning. And as well as Timothy Leary, the famous 1960s era politician who campaigned a lot on legalizing psychedelics. Alright, on to Lateralus. This is considered Tool's magnum opus. A lot of people say this is their best album. This is my girlfriend's favorite album, like, of all time. So let's just say these top two rows are about to be filled up. First off, we have The Grudge. Boom, banger. I think this is a brilliant opener. It goes immediately into it, much like Stinkfist, no hesitation, just straight into the album. I like the lyrical content, I like the meaning, and I think the one thing that makes this song not just goes hard but banger is the 25-second long scream, really hard scream in it that has been used in so many of my Instagram stories because Instagram stories are 15 seconds long, and so I can have a story full of just only screaming. So thank you, Maynard James Keenan. On to first Lateralus. The first interlude, sorry from my English. On to the first interlude from Lateralus. There's Eon Blue Apocalypse. I think it's very good. I think it's entertaining. I like the little jangly guitar mess. It's not too long, doesn't overstay its welcome. I mean, you can skip it if you want, but if you don't, it's only going to waste like a minute of your time. Next is The Patient. I actually don't like this song that much. However, I still think it's very good. I think it's a good song. There's just something about it that feels like it's missing. I don't necessarily think anything's bad about it. I just don't think that there's as much good as the rest of these songs. Actually, you know, I think it does deserve to be up here, though. Maybe above Jimmy. Next interlude is Mantra. I'm going to put this at the top of the instant skip. It's just kind of a weird noise. Apparently, it's the noise of Maynard James Keenan squeezing a cat, slowed down to very slow to where you can't recognize it. But I don't really think it does. I don't really think it adds anything to like Schism, even though it plays before it in the music video. But I don't think it's bad, but I definitely skip it. Next is Schism. Holy crap, this song is amazing. I don't even know what to say. This song switches time signature maybe like 70 sometimes. It is ridiculous how much this song changes its time signature. And despite that, it manages to still sound coherent and normal. And that's mostly because of the way they actually do the time signature changes. It's like, oh, it's like 1 bar of 7/8, then 1 bar of 5/8, which if you put them together is like 12/8, which sounds pretty normal. 12/8 is a pretty common time signature. So the drums actually play kind of in 12/8, but the bass is the one that's playing in 5/8 and 7/8, which makes it sound like it's in 5/8, 7/8, even though the main rhythms and it's a whole thing, but it is still a very good song. The iconic bass line. Most bass players know how to play this just because it sounds goofy. Parabola. I'm gonna put it top of song worthy. I almost wanted to make this a song because it is a song. However, I think the way I'm going to do this is Parabola I'm going to rate just on its own, and then when I rate Parabola, I'm going to rate it as if you're playing the two of them back to back like you're watching the music video or like you're listening to the album, because I do think these tracks are inseparable from one another. However, because they're separated on here, I'm going to state that Parabola is the ideal interlude, to the point where I don't consider it an interlude except for the case of this. Parabola, holy crap, right up here with Schism. This song is amazing. It is an experience. Parabola and Parabola together are around 10 minutes long. One of the longest songs on the album. It might be. No, it's not. Second longest song in the album. It is amazing. It is very cerebral. It is very transcendental, to put it that way. I'm gonna rearrange this a little bit. You can tell I like Tool. Next is Ticks and Leeches. Oh my gosh. Holy crap. Surprising. Another banger. Ticks and Leeches is a great song. The story behind it is pretty funny, that the record label wanted a hit single, and so they gave them a hit single, but they put like 4 minutes of random stuff in the middle between the beginning and the end. Apparently that's the story behind this. I don't know if that's true or not, but this song is still amazing. Alright. Lateralus. Oh, and fun fact, apparently Maynard James Keenan had to rest his voice for 2 weeks after recording it because of that ending. And that ending, man, that's what gets it up there. Lateralus. Oh. I don't like it as much as Parabola, but it is like, to say I don't like it as much as Parabola, it's like, oh, I love this food, but it's not as good as like $1 million filet mignon steak. Like, it's like, okay, well, it's still amazing. So this song, great. It's the Fibonacci sequence one. It's the one where they use the Fibonacci sequence. Oh, that's crazy. I bet you've never heard of that watching a video about Tool. If you actually don't, and this is your first introduction to like Tool, just watching this tier list to find out what songs to listen to, there's a million videos about how this song uses the Fibonacci sequence. I recommend watching one of them because it's pretty cool, even if it's like kind of a meme at this point. And holy crap, they don't have disposition on this list. I didn't make this list. I'm a little thief. But they are missing disposition. I will just rank this as if disposition and reflection are the same because I don't really listen to... I don't really listen to disposition without reflection. It's kind of like one of the things with Parabola. I think this song is amazing. I think it's up here. This is the longest song on the album. Reflection itself, I'd say disposition if I were to rank it separately would maybe goes hard. But reflection, it is directly following disposition. In fact, disposition, reflection, and the next song, Triad, are considered the Holy Trilogy because, of course, or Holy Trinity, not trilogy. Holy Trinity because, of course, Tool fans would call it that. These songs are all really good. It's a great way to end an album. This song, I feel like, is the climax of the album, and the next song, Triad, is sort of that falling action, that resolution type feeling. This song, it's decent. There's no lyrics. It's just a 7-minute long, like, guitar solo. It almost sounds like the whole album's kind of falling apart, like it's crumbling down after reflection, and you're left with just, like, a pile of ash at the end. For it just to begin once again with The Grudge, if you re-listen to it. It's amazing. It's a great way to end an album, but on its own, it's decent. It's fun. I would never really put it on, like, when I'm alone. I actually gotta probably put it, like, down here. I would never really put it on, like, on its own, but it's still good. Last interlude. This one's funny. I've actually heard... It's funny because I heard this once, right? And I'm not gonna try to put it there. I heard this once. It is it's like a distorted version of this guy who called into a radio show once to talk about how he used to work at Area 51 and that the people who control Area 51 are actually not human. And all this, and like they're coming after him, and then it cuts off abruptly. And it's funny because the other day, I was watching like a video about aliens or something, and they played that clip, and all I could think about was, oh hey, this is the one from the ending of Lateralus. So I guess that's fun. Apparently I guess this played after like 10 minutes of silence or something on Lateralus, the way they did that with like Endless Nameless in Nevermind and whatnot. It's not bad. It's not bad, but I mean, I don't ever really listen to it because, it's at the end of the album. I think that's something that kind of sucks because a lot of the album enders can be kind of cool, but like, what's the point? Unless you're listening to the whole album, what's the point of listening to something, like that? Alright, moving on to the next album, 10,000 Days. People still consider this to be one of Tool's best albums. However, a lot of people consider it somewhat of a step down of the last two. It's just not for any specific reason. There's not necessarily a change in the style. I'd actually argue that it's kind of like a mix between Ænima and Lateralus, but I think it's still a great album. I think plenty of these songs will still be up here. Starting off with Vicarious. Surprise, surprise, it's up here, but not too far up here. I really like this song. Actually, yeah, it is. I think it's great. I like this song a lot. This song is probably my favorite off the album. Second favorite, actually. I'm looking at it again. My second favorite song off the album. Once again, Tool with their album openers. They always know how to open an album. Go straight into it. And I love how the song's about like people just like watching TV and watching sensationalist stuff all the time and just sort of living through the eyes of others off TV. And how it just speaks to, because like this was written in like 2006, and now we have like cell phones and shit. And I'm not trying to be all boomer over here, like kids and they iPhones, but like, I think it's a good message. John B, I'd say it's probably down here. It does go hard. I think it goes hard. I think it deserves to be and goes hard. However, I don't think it deserves to be very high in that. It's a good continuation of the vibes from Vicarious. However, I've never really looked that deep into the lyrical meaning, but it, like Vicarious, you don't have to. You kind of already hear it just by hearing the lyrics. Whereas this one is a little more cryptic. Correct me, I mean, if it has an awesome transcendental meaning or something, say it in the comments. Or just comment anyways, honestly. Engagement's awesome. Please, like, subscribe, comment. But yeah, I think it goes hard. Wings for Marie. I would say I like this song. But I don't like it as much as 10,000 Days, which is the part 2 of this. I think 10,000 Days is a very good song. Whereas I think Wings for Marie, I think it's a little long. And it's a little too slow for me. It's a little not metal for me. I don't necessarily think that makes it bad. That's sort of the whole reason for the decent category is like, I don't think any of these songs are bad. They're just not necessarily my type. However, 10,000 Days, the part 2 of this song, is a very good song. I love the way this continues on the song. And I think that it really makes up for some of the stuff that I think was lacking in Wings for Marie. Next up is The Pot. Oh my gosh. What a surprise. One of the most popular Tool songs is up towards the top. Maynard James Keenan himself said that if you're going to introduce anybody to Tool, play a song like this. Don't play the 27-minute one. Play The Pot. This song is nice. It's short for Tool. That's 6 minutes. That's short for Tool. And it just goes right into it. It's one of the grooviest songs ever. Even some of my friends who don't listen to metal like this song just because of how hard it goes. And it also isn't... One thing I like about Tool is it's metal, but it's also very approachable, I think, to a lot of people. Just because of how interesting it is how I think. Leap on Conjuring. This is actually the first... There's not that many interludes on this, but this one kind of sucks. I think it's funny. I think it's goofy. But also, you kind of like hear that and you're just like, what the fuck is this? Like... I don't understand this song. Or this interlude. And the next one, I'm going to consider it an interlude because I considered Parabola an interlude. Much like Parabola, this is kind of like an intro to the next song. However, I don't think that it's as important to listen to this before Rosetta Stone as it is to listen to Parabola before Parabola. However, this does sort of set up the lore for the next song and how it's told through the perspective of like a guy who just randomly appears in a hospital with like no seeming signs of injury or whatnot, and then he goes on to say all the shit in Rosetta Stone. But yeah, I think it's alright. I'd say it's songworthy. It's got a pretty cool... I like the droning sounds to it. I like the way it builds up. I don't understand necessarily the name of it though. I don't know who the fuck Hoffman is. Rosetta Stone, I think it goes hard, but that's about it. It's a little long. It stretches on for me. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think it's a really good song. It still is like in playlists and whatnot for me, but I think it's a little too long, honestly. I think some is just a little too like, it's a little too like on the nose with like the acid DMT type stuff, you know. Intention is decent. I don't like it that much. It's very slow, very I like fall asleep to this song. I'm not whenever I listen to it. But that doesn't mean it's bad at all. But I do think it is probably my least favorite song on the album. And then we have Writin' 2, the last song on the album. I like this song a lot. I don't think it's a banger, but I think it's pretty high up here and goes hard. It's about how humans are constantly fighting over shit for no reason, despite the fact that we have the gift of this great earth we live on. It references an old story. I don't think it's from the Bible, but I think it's like an old story of a woman who had a child, and then another woman who stole the child and was like, oh no, this is mine. And then the court, when they were like, fighting over who was the actual rightful mother, the court was like, well, if y'all can't decide, we're just gonna cut the kid in half and you guys each have a half. And the fake mother was like, yes, please. But then the real mother said, well, no, that's my kid. I want it to live. So if that's the case, then it can stay with the other woman. And then the court's like, nope, the woman who doesn't want the kid cut in half is the real mother. Whereas I really think that the woman who wanted the kid cut in half should probably, get checked out, because that's kind of weird. Like, I thought you'd steal kids so that you'd, have one, not just because, you wanted the physical body of a child. Because, you cut it in half, you ain't gonna have a kid anymore. You're just gonna have, half a body. Anyways, I think, is it pronounced Wiginti or Viginti? I think it's Italian, so it's probably Viginti. This is a lot like the one from the end of Lateralus, but, I just don't think it's as good. I mean, like I said earlier, with the ones at the end of albums, it's just you finish the album. Just listen to something else. Next up, the last album, Tool's latest album, Fear Inoculum, came out in 2019 after 13 years of waiting. And it's probably, I wouldn't say it was a disappointment, but it's not really, it wasn't, a lot of people think it was another step down from 10,000 Days. I think it's equal to 10,000 Days in terms of content, but that's just me. This album is centered around 6 songs, which, if you look at the rest, I think 10,000 Days had the least amount of songs at 8. And this is centered around 6 songs, all 6 of them clocking in over 10 minutes. They're really leaning into that Tool makes really long songs thing, I guess. But starting off, we got the title track, Fear Inoculum. I think this goes right here. I like him more than that. However, I think it goes here. Fear Inoculum is a really good opener. I think it perfectly opens the album. I mean, I just said that. This song starts off really slow, and then it really steps up its pace. I love the way I really like the lyrics on it. I think it's very introspective. What the fuck am I talking about? I really like the lyrics on it. I think it's a very thoughtful song. It's one that you should really think about. And it's kind of weird that there's this whole album centering around disease and social contagion and whatnot. And it came out in 2019. Now what happened the next following year in 2020? Huh? Yeah, that's right. Tool did coronavirus. Nah, I'm kidding. Next up's Ænima. I think it's a little under. This song is still really good, but I also think it's just it never really gets going. There's sometimes after the chorus when it's burn out, that part's kind of cool, but it's 10 minutes long, man. Or at least, this one's maybe 11. I don't know. It's really long. And that's the thing with all these songs on Fear Inoculum. It's none of them are really that bad. It's just they're all really long. And it's do we really need this? All these songs really need to be 10 minutes long? You know? Anyways, next one. This is the first interlude. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it, but I don't really like it. There's way better interludes on this album. And moving on to Invincible, I think this song is decent. It's not bad, but I don't really gel with it that much. Like I said with Numa, it's so long. And yeah, well, I mean, Reflection's super long, Third Eye's super long. However, they're within albums full of songs that aren't that long, you know? Whereas, you know, those songs were meant to be long, whereas it feels like this song and some of the others on here are just, like, long for the point of being long. Legion Inoculant, I also think it's kind of mid for an interlude. However, I guess I'll give it bottom. Excuse me. I'll let it sit at bottom of entertaining, just because it's kind of like ties into Fear Inoculum. Like, it literally plays like a clip from Fear Inoculum. And alright, time for the last three songs. Descending. It's descending my tier list because it is boring. I don't even remember that much of the song, and I've heard it at least like, you know, like maybe 10 times, and you feel like I'd remember it by then. This song takes so long to even begin, let alone like get interesting. It's like, in fact, you know, I'm gonna give Subpar some love by putting Descending in there. I love her Culling Voices. I think Culling Voices are pretty good, actually. I think it's around here. I actually think this song steps up a lot. I think this is definitely one of the better songs on the album. This is one I would recommend if you really want to listen to like a really long Tool song. This song's about like paranoia and like getting in your own head. And it's, I really like the way it embodies that feeling as it just gets more and more like tense, more loud, and Maynard's vocals get more erratic. He starts yelling a little bit more. It's very good. And holy crap. On to the magnum opus of this album. And that is Seven Tempest. No, it's called Tempest. Tempest is, man, I'd put it like up here. This song is amazing. It is Tool's longest album song, longest studio album song, clocking in at 15 minutes and change. But unlike the songs like Descending or Invincible, I think that every minute of this 15-minute song is amazing. I don't think this song wastes a minute of that time slot at all, not even a second. This song, not only is it about something I think is cool, it's really political, and Tool's always been somewhat political, but somewhat like kind of more just talking about society rather than like actual politics, like singing Rage Against the Machine. This song I think is probably their most political one, and I think it's a really good song. Subject matter is awesome. I love the way it kind of calls back to some of their earlier style. They're very aggressive lyricism. They're very loud guitars. It is a brilliant song, a brilliant album closer in terms of the song. I mean, there's Mockingbird, but yeah, I would recommend if you want to get into the part of Tool, like you never listened to them, but you want to get into like that 15-minute song type shit, listen to Tempest. It is there. Alright, and Mockingbird for the last interlude. It sucks. I think it's weird. It's like, it kind of like imitates a bird. Maybe if I like understood like how they replicated that sound in the studio, then I would, this has to be a little higher for happiness sake. But if it was like a little, if I like knew the context of like how they were able to make those sounds, maybe they like made them with guitars, and maybe it's actually kind of cool how they did it. But without that knowledge, it's just kind of weird. And like with the rest of the album closer interludes, it's just kind of lame. So that concludes my tier list, and here is the full view right here. You can feel free to take a picture or just like look at it, compare your tier list, how you feel. Please, I want to hear your opinions in the comments. Maybe some of you are the biggest fan of Descending and you just want to rip me a new one. Go ahead. I don't care. But that'll be it for today. I already have another tier list planned for another late 1990s, early 2000s metal band. I won't be spoiling what band that is, but I hope to get that video out sometime soon, and I hope to go back to the skit content. I might actually make a separate channel for the skit content. So if you actually watch that and want to watch more of it, I will keep that. I will keep you all updated on that.
Alright, that was the tier list. I wasn't aware when I was recording, but my webcam did kind of block off, I think 4 songs, 2 off of the top 2 tiers. Those were Fear Inoculum and, actually let me see. Those were Fear Inoculum and H in the 1 million IQ banger category, and Jimmy and John B in the Goes Hard category, if you really care that much. But anyways, that's the video. Like I said in the recording, I have another video already planned to come out, as well as new content regarding the whole skits thing. It's like one hair. Sorry. But yeah, anyways, like and subscribe. Check out Nova Buzz. I'll leave a link in the description and in a pinned comment. And have a wonderful day.
Hey, it's me again. Editing for a second time. So, I realized Chocolate Chip Trip wasn't in the list. It's song worthy. Like, it's probably the best interlude. Maybe under like, if you're not counting Lost Keys and Parabola as interludes.